Hey everybody, I'm here with my friend Leah at her daycare facility here in Columbia, South Carolina. As he said, this is Fantasy Childcare Center, and she is going to tell us all about what it is to work here and to operate the daycare and different suggestions for students that are interested in the field.
Sure. Good afternoon to everyone, and thank you guys so much for being in our facility on today. We certainly will take you on a tour of our different classrooms first, and then we'll answer any questions that you may have. And Miss Canty, I'm sure, has some questions that she's going to ask of me as well. But welcome to Fantasy Island Childcare Center, and thank you so much for that lovely introduction. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go, this is nap time, so you won't see any of the kids, but they used to sounds, so it should be okay. All right, so we have our toddler classroom, and we actually have our teachers, she has little teachers, they have uniform t-shirts or aprons or smocks, and some of them are wearing their Gamecock Fantasy Island t-shirts today. So we're for the Gamecocks. Yes, this is our toddler room, and they are working during that time prepping materials, getting lesson plans done. We have some of our service floaters, so they're able to assist with that process. We're doing a lot of spring things in the center, so you'll see flowers, different things related to the life cycle throughout the building. So as you move through, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the things that they're doing. So here in this room, certainly we have centers, and the centers that you all are normally used to seeing. Our teachers have the instructions for diaper changing. There is a set way to change a diaper that's on the wall, and they are making sure those procedures, but some of our centers are a little moved because of that time. So we'll come out of here, and you can tell me if you have any questions.
Okay. What are some of the requirements to work as a preschool teacher or a daycare teacher?
So to work as a preschool childcare teacher, you have to have a central registry that's done through the Department of Social Services. That is to see if you're a sex offender. It normally takes about a week and a half to come back. The same thing holds true for getting fingerprinted. We can't just have regular fingerprints. We do have to do fingerprints that are approved by the state of South Carolina. A little bit more expensive than what we have at SLED for fingerprinting. So the staff members will do a criminal background check and a fingerprint check. And then the other two major requirements would be a health assessment by a doctor or nurse to see your well-being working in a child care facility, and also having a tuberculosis test.
Okay.
So those are the four main things, and of course we have other forms that are notarized or forms that they fill out. So we have a record for DHEC and DSS purposes.
Right.
The other thing is they have to also keep up with having 15 hours worth of training.
Okay.
That is approved by the Department of Social Services. So it can't just be somebody off the street or somebody that we know has to be a certified trainer to give them 15 hours each year, and our directors have to have at least 20 hours. So those are the really big requirements. And here we have a restroom that we use for our younger kids, and it has the potty training seats in here. Each thing that you have for a student has to be labeled. So anything that's personal, like a blanket, mat, potty training seats, has to have the child's name. So all of our storage areas have to be locked because it has chemicals behind the door. You see that this class is doing the butterfly, and they're doing a little life cycle of the butterfly.
Oh.
So that's kind of like to that extent for that particular room. And we have another restroom here. I believe that two of our classrooms have different potty training seats, so that's why they have two of them. Okay, we have Miss Katrina, our cook, one of our cooks. She's coming, I guess, for a break, but she is actually who we oftentimes come to make sure we have those nutritional meals. We follow the food program, and so we're making sure that we provide USDA quality meals that have a certain amount of wheat in the diet, vitamin A, vitamin D. We have to check off which foods in the day that we're providing. So we have to have fresh vegetables and fruits. They do check to see how much we use as it relates to processed foods. So we cannot just have a bunch of frozen meats, and you can have a whole bunch of canned goods. So that is a part of the USDA requirements, and that's why we love having that, because we know our students are not just getting junk food, they're not just getting a snack, they're actually getting a wholesome food.
Right.
Okay, and let's see. So the kitchen is here, and we have several things going on in that kitchen. We do have to have a fire safe, and we have the gas shut-off switches that are on the wall. Certainly, we have an actual Columbia Fire company that comes in and does a good inspection of the kitchen twice a year, and they also come through and we have our fire alarm system for that company. So we have to always keep the door closed in the kitchen, for students, children in the kitchen. So those are some of the safety requirements, and there are many, many more things, of course, in the kitchen. Anything else you want to point out, Mrs. Trina, in the kitchen that you got on?
Yes, we keep all of our medical things for our kids, just in case anybody gets sick or anything. We keep our epic in, and all our safety procedures are here, and all the numbers that we need in case of emergencies.
Right.
We help with the emergencies and all in the kitchen. So yes, we try to keep everything.
Do a lot of students have medications or EpiPens or?
I believe right now, the last time I checked the box a couple of days ago, they got like 5 students.
Okay.
And we had 2 EpiPens, and then seasonal allergy medicine. And of course, for medication, it has to be prescribed by a doctor at the counter. Even something as simple as one thing for the cream, it has to have label on it. One of my students has Benadryl with some kind of sinus medicine that's over the counter, but the doctor had to put a prescription label to that medication.
Okay. Right.
This is actually the life cycle of chicken. So these are our 3-year-olds, our younger 3s. They're doing the life cycle of the chicken, and they have their little sunflowers out. This is the same collage, and you'll notice that the students will place their items wherever they feel. That's not always perfect. Cut out. And then we just go to this one. This one is the caterpillar. So they're doing the life cycle of the caterpillar.
The 3-year-olds did this as well?
Yes, this is actually, make sure this is actually the 2-year-old class.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Little 2-year-olds.
Okay. So you see the eyes are off, but it's okay. We want them to do what they do best. All right, so we're going to go into our young classroom. And we have Miss Mary here. And like I said, a lot of our centers are moved around because we try to accommodate from that time. They're looking at kites. B for balloon. So that's what you see over in this area. And oftentimes we want to make sure that our students go back to the wall, whatever they're learning, they're pointing to the items that are on the wall to make sure that they, when they take it home, they can articulate what that item is. Okay. So we have our older 3s, and we have Mrs. T here. Mrs. T has one teacher's spot. She has one apron and her item. Ms. T is very creative. You see that our students actually have the pictures around this room. You see pictures over in this area. Displaying the paper plate garden. They're doing a thing with gardening as well.
The child.
We have the willow tree, and you see that they actually. Okay, so now you can get up camera. They're doing a tree study, and they actually did some things to make the tree like what's in the picture. They also have kites as well, and you'll see they added stickers of their favorite thing to the kite. And then we of course have her creativity of the bulletin boards.
Yes.
And notice how she's got the kids flying from the kite.
Oh.
So Ms. T is an artistic, creative person. The teachers will put on display their books or books that relate to their theme. You'll notice that some don't have those on display as well. And each classroom has a non-toxic plant.
Okay.
So that's the non-toxic. So that it's easy and get sick of. All right, so this is for St. Patrick's Day. That's the Clover Patch. This is our 2-year-olds as well. And we're going to the 2-year-old classroom. This other one.
Hello.
So one thing we have Miss Evelyn doing is she's doing the cleaning process. Miss Evelyn, you want to explain?
Yeah, but you're director of the cleaning process? Yes, I was shaking out the water. We put soapy water, then we put clear water, and then we put bleach water. As the kids are prepared, they're playing with the food or whatever toy, and they put it in their mouth, and we put it in there, we sanitize it.
The toys. Wow.
That way we sanitize it all day long.
All day, every day. Wow. That's a process.
Yeah. Okay, so we have 2 of our directors in here, and this is lunchtime as well, so we're covering breaks during the nap time, as well as allowing people to prep and get ready for the next activity or the next part of the day. So we thank our directors for all they do, and Ms. Dorena, all of our teachers.
So when you say breaks, the other teachers go on their lunch break.
During that time.
Right.
Teachers go on their breaks during time. Okay. So we had a study, and we're getting ready to change this out to Pete the Cat. But we had a study on the Very Hungry Caterpillar.
Okay.
So students did different things, like this is some of our student artwork. And then we were looking at the vibration of butterflies, seeing where the butterflies were. So that would be more for the kids. And how they migrate from the north to Mexico, and from Mexico, obviously, back to the continent. So we're learning more than just the life cycle. We're also looking at the flight of the monarch butterflies.
What age group does that activity?
This is 4s and up.
Wow.
We have a 4K class. And then they're looking at, I guess, ducks in the pond. And the Rainbow Fish book. So this is our 4K class. They're actually looking at that book. And of course, when we do a book study, the kids will pop out maybe literacy and maybe math. So the Rainbow Fish book, we read that book, do several things. We do habitats, we do science, fish itself is science. We look at numeracy and literacy in that book.
Can you talk about how the 4K program is different from the younger children programs?
Yes. So our 4K program is actually what you would see in elementary schools. It's not 4K kindergarten, first grade, second grade. So we are governed by the state of South Carolina Department of Education to actually do a 4K program with license. To have them here, we have to have an early childhood education certified teacher with a degree, and then you find that the students are moving through the same discipline curriculum as students would in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
What we do oftentimes in the state of South Carolina is, as you know, for 4K classes, they go to a certain cap, high school, elementary school. So elementary school, you may have a elementary school in the neighborhood that only has 2 4K classes.
Mm-hmm.
You may have another one down the street that they have one or
Mm-hmm.
they have 2. When those classes get full, the state of South Carolina wants to see if there are child care centers that will allow 4K classes to be inside their facility to service more children to become kindergarten ready.
Okay.
So that's the purpose of what we have 4K first steps.
Right.
And so in the elementary schools, you have school districts governing what they're doing. And the child care centers, you have South Carolina first steps governing
Wow.
the Department of Education.
And so the teacher in the 4K program would need a 2-year early care
We
degree?
have a 2-year associate's degree.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I encourage students to do oftentimes is if you graduate from high school, definitely seek to find out more about South Carolina Teach, South Carolina TEACH. They do a lot of sponsorship of students for the entire associate degree.
Okay.
You don't pay maybe 10% of the degree. Midlands Tech and some of our other technical schools have a lot of students that go to South Carolina Teach, and it's for free.
Right.
You get a sponsoring childcare center, and that sponsoring childcare center can actually pay the difference. They pay for your books, they pay for your registration. So all that is included. Now I have a teacher here now who's going to South Carolina Teach, and she will have her associate's degree in May.
Mm-hmm.
That's taking on most of our child care facilities if they really understand the value of having persons who have their associate degree in the building. They will allow you flex time to be able to work in the child care facility and also be able to go to school.
Right.
And because of the pandemic, a lot of our classes, especially in our technical schools, became online classes. So you could easily work in a child care facility and get your associate degree.
Right. Great. That's great.
Yes. So, what do we have here? Favorite pets. So this is free drawing. So we've got some favorite pets. And the thing is, everything that we put up, we want to label it so that students can go back again and look at the print of it and see what they are actually referring to in the picture.
Okay, in 4K, we have studies that we work on. And each study, we create different activities that reinforce what we're teaching in the study. And so now we're on the study called Pets. So what we did was created some puppies, and now they're taking care of the puppies. So they make their food. Everything is out of clay and paper towels. They name their pets, and we take care of them every day. And I come in a little early and I remove the food out of the bowl so that they can repeat it and do things that you do to take care of your pets and your animals.
Great. Great. Sounds like they have a lot of fun.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I was telling her we might have a superhero cakes in here. Do you have one that's out?
Because we're waiting on the super healthy kids, so I didn't want to.
Oh, no problem. We don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, but
And they do have a pet. They have a betta fish that they take care of.
Okay.
we had a lot of theme dealing with superheroes. So everybody got to wear their mask and their superhero capes. They made red with their families and made masks to hide their identities as well.
Oh, I bet they love that. I know my little
They wore them all day. Oh, and that's the band that gave them superpowers to read.
to read.
Yes, to read. So they enjoyed it.
Fun,
They really had
fun ways
fun.
to learn.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Danielle.
Thank you.
Reach the unravel. But you'll notice that everything has to be wrapped, even here, for sanitary purposes. We want to make sure that nothing touches another child's material. They have the bins also in the cubbies. So those are things, again, that we do for health and safety.
Right.
We have a lot of things inside of our conference room because we're getting smart TVs put up in our 2 3-year-old classrooms so they can do the YouTube and casting of whatever that there is on the laptop that teachers want them to have as learning materials. So outside, the teachers do a lot of bringing materials out because when we leave the balls and we leave the games outside, of course, they get damaged, dirty through rain. So we have this shed here that they can actually store their materials, the balls. Some of them have the blankets that they lay out for the younger kids. Certainly the toddlers are over into this area. The older kids are over in this area. When we go down, you will see that we have over here, we just cleared that out. The white square foot garden is where we're getting ready to plant corn, peppers, and what did you tell me? I forget. Oh, tomatoes.
Oh, great.
So as soon as the last freeze hits, and that's supposed to be next week, that's when the kids will plant their seedlings, and our older 3s and our 4K class will take care of the garden.
Wow.
And our cooks love it because they use that as the super healthy kids thing. They will have the kids pull the stuff from the garden, and then the kids will see how it tastes out of the garden. We're getting ready to get that done. Now, I wanted to tell you all this. We had one of our workers to pass away. So we named this the Jesse Brown Playhouse, but it's not a playhouse in its truest sense.
Oh
It's
my
a
goodness.
literacy look.
This is adorable.
And so our kids can come in, the teachers will have dramatic play with them. So this is like a theater area, small theater area. My mother-in-law was the owner of this center, and she built this herself.
This house?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And we turned it into a literacy nook.
Oh my gosh.
So-
I bet the kids love this. I would love it.
They love it. They can climb up. Of course, our 1-year-olds do not come here because of the steps, but
Right.
all of our other children do. And because we're going to Pete the Cat, you'll see a bunch of Pete the Cat books all through this area. So we're getting them prepared for everything we're going to learn about Pete the Cat in our summer things.
Wow.
So the teachers also can bring items out here for the students to use as writing material. Don't paint in here because we don't want paint to get messed up in the small area. And then they have the audio books that they can do as well. So they do one class at a time in here, and the kids really like it.
I bet.
Yes. So you notice that our 1-year-old and 2-year-old classrooms, they had, I don't know if you noticed, outside doors. That's a fire piece that we had to have the exit doors for those age groups. So in their classrooms, they do have a fire door. They do have the fire drills, tornado drills, earthquake drills, even though they're younger. Just to keep them, have them aware when we do fire drills, the alarms will go off, and the kids are holding their ears.
Oh.
We do coordinate with our local fire department. they will know that you're doing each month.
Well, one of my questions is, what are some of the key skills to be a daycare operator if you're going to own a daycare?
So if you're going to own a daycare, you have to, of course, know how to deal with people. That is the number one thing. We find that parents, even though they're the parent, they are oftentimes irate. So you can't let a parent get you emotionally charged and allow your emotions to get into the conversation. Many times people don't understand different things that may have happened during the day. They can become accusatory. They can become protective of their children. A lot of them,
Definitely.
It's the first time their child has actually moved out of the house. So they're cuddling them a whole lot more. So you have to understand and be empathetic to that. Same thing with staff. Because you're managing staff members, I'm sorry. So because you're managing staff, apologize. We have to manage staff, and many times that becomes also a thing where you have to understand how to differentiate between disciplinary actions, how to deal with persons who are not always prompt on time, persons who are taken off from work. So you have to make sure you have enough people in the building to cover those individuals. It's also a matter of keeping up with different dates like immunization records, making sure that someone's not in the facility that does not have the proper shot records. The shot record may have expired. Keeping up with regulations, making sure if we're ABC Quality Center, we have what we call the letter A. And so what we do is we try to make sure we protect the actual letter A for our facility. The B facility is great. That's what we were when I first took over. But we have C, B, B+, A, and A+. And so we boast of that. Our DSS voucher services, they have what we call quality centers, and we want to be that quality center. When people look on our website, we want them to see that letter A. So we are actually in the process of preparing for that and making sure that we are ready when we have that review. So it takes a whole lot to run. It's not just babysitting.
Right.
And I don't want to ever be a babysitter. I do want to make sure that our teachers are forever learning. So we do a lot of training. Even though it's 15 hours required, we actually make sure that our teachers have beyond that 15 hours. So you will find that they get training from South Carolina First Steps, South Carolina 4K First Steps. They get training through some of our other sister agencies, persons who are great at early childhood education. Even Richland School District 1, their Thrive Richland program will come in and do trainings for our teachers and directors as well. So we value, of course, as a director, you're constantly looking at those things and making sure that we meet those requirements.
Great. So lots of delegation, organization, conflict resolution.
Right.
Great.
Right.
And I only have one other question, and I'll go to the chat because I see there are questions popping up. For a high school graduate that received a certificate or a credential, are they eligible to come work as a teacher here for the youngers?
So a credential as in
the high
early
school
childhood credential or
high school
diploma. Yes. We can start working or having people in the facility as we call assistant teachers, teachers at the age of 17.
Okay.
At the age of 18, they can be truly vetted, but we can have people that come in and work as assistants or administrative assistants. And then we will move people along the spectrum. So as a high school senior, we start working in a child care center. The thing that
DSS requires is, in order for you to be in a classroom by yourself,
Mhm.
you have to have 6 months of actually working in a facility, in a
Okay.
childcare facility or a number of childcare facilities. And then you're able to be in the classroom by yourself. That's what we call lead teachers.
Mhm.
Not a floater or not an assistant, but to become a lead teacher. So you don't have to necessarily have a degree. Certainly, the state of South Carolina requires that you have a GED or a diploma in order to be considered a child care teacher.
Mhm.
But you don't have to have a GED or diploma to be a cook, the bus driver, or work in administrative areas, as long as you're not caring solely for a child.
And the
in which-
assistants. Okay.
Our salary range is $12 and up, depending on education, experience, the number of years that you've been in childcare, and also your duties. So we start everyone at $12.
Okay. Let's see.
Well, everyone start at 12, but that is the lower range, depending on what you do.
All right. Have you had to terminate a worker for abuse?
Not for abuse. We have had one situation, my husband and I own this childcare center, and we did have to terminate an employee, but it wasn't for abuse. Now, have we had allegations of abuse? Yes. You have to report it, even if you don't think that it's true. You're a mandated reporter by the state of South Carolina. So if a child says that a teacher pinched them or the teacher shoved them, even though no one else may have saw it, you let the parent know and you report it and you let DSS. They will determine if there's any truth to it. So we have had situations where it's a sticky thing, but we have a good rapport with our teachers where they understand. If we know that you haven't done anything, we're going to stand behind you. We're going to do as much as we can to make sure that they understand this is not your characteristic. This is not something that you would do to a child. And most times, you can figure out if a parent picks a child up and say, oh, my son or my daughter said that they got popped. Well, oftentimes, there's a lot more happening in the scenario that clearly lets the DSS licensing person or the OHAN, we call them OHAN, those persons who are investigating the situation, they clearly know they made up the whole story because people don't know how to tell straight stories. But if it's the truth, we're going to look into it, definitely, and work toward it. We did have a situation where we did have something that was of concern. So when OHAN or DSS came in, we didn't know, but it seemed like it could have been a probability. And I'll give you okay, thumbs up. This person would never have done it. We say nothing. We only allow for the questions that they ask us, and we answer those questions. And we don't lie. We can't lie. So we want to always be truthful in every situation. So it does put you in sticky situations. We just had on yesterday something that we had to report to Child Protective Services when we were concerned about a child being sexually abused. So those things become sticky situations again, where you don't want to turn a parent in. You're afraid that the child was going to take it from what you think is a good parent, but then at the end of the day, you're mandated reporters. So our teachers once a year get mandated reporter training, so they understand you have to do this. It's for the protection of the child. You're trying to make sure that the child is protected, even though the parent may seem to be a great parent. It's not for us to decide that. It's for, again, DSS, Child Protective Services to decide that.
Right. So in the time that you've owned this daycare, you've only had to terminate one person?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
Terminated one person. We have put some people on suspension. And we have done what we call some persons where you pressure cook them to go ahead and resign on their own.
Okay.
But we have not had, we've got a good childcare facility, I think, but staff, some of them, of course, have resigned since we've been here. But we try to operate as a family. My husband and I give lots of bonuses. People have deaths in their family.
If something, if you think about being an owner, you want to be empathetic. We will take care of those kinds of needs for our staff members if they're sick. If the spouse is in the hospital, we try to, be in tune to those things because it's an extended family. We only have 14 or 15 employees, and so we'll take them on retreats. So they'll go overnight. Went to Myrtle Beach, we're from Charleston. We do things, try to do it every 6 months or quarterly.
Wow.
Something that's fun. It may be a paint night. It may be, bowling. Those things, again, build morale and culture of your employees, and it makes them want to
Work
be
here.
successful
Right.
and work. Yes.
That's great. I haven't done any of that kind of stuff. Okay, we have time for last question. Do you offer benefits?
Do we offer benefits? Yes. So we do offer health care, health, eye, and dental. We do not have a plan for retirement. Now, I wish that we could. Oftentimes, our child care centers that are independently owned or small business, they cannot afford the retirement piece, but it does become an issue of, again, balancing. The biggest expense for a child care facility is payroll, and then maybe food. But my husband and I do pump in a lot of money for materials. The thing about what we have done here is when we got our child care facility, we were both in other careers. My mother-in-law died suddenly, and we took over the child care facility for one of the reasons that I mentioned earlier, because we had persons that were working here that we knew that even actually helped to care for my husband when he was a child. A few of them were here, but because of the family environment and this being a pillar in both of us, we grew up in this neighborhood. We wanted the child care facility to continue. So the plus here is that we want to make sure that our kids have everything they need for materials. So we certainly put a lot into that. And thankfully, because of the pandemic, we do have some grants that come in to allow for us to do some other extra things that we normally would not be able to do for the state. So we don't give that to ourselves as salary. We give it to our children and the betterment of curriculum.
Great.
So, yes.
Well, that wraps up the tour. Thank you so much, Leah and
Thank you.
Scott.